Zack Morris is trash.
Zack Morris asks Mikey if he can borrow $300 to replace his father's new video camera. Zack accidentally dropped it off the roof while secretly filming his twin teenage neighbors practicing aerobics. Miss Bliss is teaching her class about the stock market. The class invested $50 in a small airline that recently merged with a larger airline, pushing the price of the stock up $3 and generating $150 in profit for the class. This gives Zack a great idea. He asks Miss Bliss where he can learn more about stocks. She says the library. Then he asks Miss Bliss,
"Where is a library?"
the question every 8th grade teacher dreams to hear. Milo tells Miss Bliss her beat-up old car is, once again, leaking oil all over the parking lot. Miss Bliss says she finally saved up enough of her school teacher's salary to buy a new car that will be arriving in 4 days. Zack and Mikey break into school at 6 a.m. Zack convinces Mikey to join his plan by promising him enough money to buy a room full of video games, a trip to Yankee Stadium, and a private jet with Justine Bateman from Family Ties as his personal stewardess. And what's Zack's plan? When he went to the library for the first time in his life, he read about a guy who made $300,000 in potato stocks in 15 minutes. So Zack wants to sell all of the class's stock without their permission and invest the money in potatoes. When Milo asks what they're doing at school this early, Zack says they're here for a special project. Then he asks Milo what he knows about potatoes. Milo says potatoes are the food of the 90s and it's National Potato Month, which is all Zack needs to hear to commit fraudulent trading before first period. Zack convinces the rest of the class to go along with his bold investment strategy with this compelling sales pitch.
Therefore, potatoes equal megabucks.
Lisa and Nikki aren't sold, so Zack tells them they'll make enough money to pay for a Beverly Hills shopping spree and a habitat for the endangered condor. When Nikki's about to ask Miss Bliss what she thinks of all this, Zack tells her it will ruin the surprise when they use some of the money they make to buy chrome rims for her new car. Zack shows up the next day to announce their potato stock has gone up $6,000, which comes to $300 per student, the amount Zack needs to replace his father's video camera. Zack says it won't be long before he's able to buy Malibu and rename it Zack's Beach. Mikey tells Zack they are playing a dangerous game. They bought the potatoes on margin, which means if the stock price drops, they'll owe a lot of money. Zack tells Mikey to relax and they should wait 24 more hours to sell because he's got a great feeling about these potatoes. The price of potatoes plummets 10 minutes later. When Miss Bliss asks what's going on, Screech explains Zack took it upon himself to take all of the class's money and invest it in potatoes. But it wasn't just the class's money. Because Zack bought the stock in Miss Bliss's name on margin and then it crashed, Miss Bliss now owes $1,500. Miss Bliss says this is the most dishonest behavior she's ever seen and is no longer able to afford her new car. Miss Bliss comes to class the next day and apologizes for being understandably pissed off that Zack made the whole class lose her hard-earned money. Zack was going to sell his dirt bike to pay Miss Bliss back, but now he doesn't have to. Miss Bliss announces she now owns 3,000 pounds of potatoes and tells the class it's their new job to sell them so she can hopefully buy a car sometime next year. So now instead of learning history and math, the class is cold calling people in the phone book trying to sell them potatoes. And Miss Bliss is stuck driving a junker car that leaks oil. Let's review. Zack Morris broke his father's video camera spying on teenage girls, broke into school to commit fraudulent stock trading so he could invest the class's money in potatoes, convinced his classmates to go along with it by promising impossible riches, got greedy after he made the money he needed, and lost everything, costing his teacher a car and his classmates a decent education. Zack Morris is trash.
Zack Morris is trash.